China topped the list in 2021 after sending her rover to Mars in May of last year. The Zhurong Mars rover touched down in Utopia Planitia, a sizable plateau in the planet's northern lowlands. The Chinese Zhurong rover was able to capture distinctive images. This demonstrates that the China National Space Administration (CNSA) is making the necessary efforts to establish itself as a major player in the space industry. We'll be showing you the incredible pictures the Zhurong rover took and the astounding discoveries it made on Mars. Mars remains the second smallest planet in our solar system. It is smaller than Earth, with a diameter of 4,217 miles. Because of the iron oxide that forms in its dusty, rough surface, it is often referred to as the red planet. As a result, the surface has a rusty red color. Mars also matures like other planets in our solar system and takes its name from the Roman god of war. It is 4.6 billion years old on average. After Earth, it is regarded as a habitable planet, which justifies why scientists keep sending rovers there. For this reason, Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, has been attempting to populate Mars, and we think the project is still ongoing. Now let's go into the details. More than a year has passed since a 530-pound rover started to move over the surface of Mars, and during that time, Zhurong delivered a lot of useful data. Zhurong's successful landing on Mars gave us an incredible up-close view of some of the essential equipment required to do it. With the help of its danger avoidance cameras, Zhurong snapped black and white photographs of the gear, one of which also showed the rover's tracks. The robot also snapped a gorgeous color photo of the parachute rear shell assembly. The previous Mars rover also examined its entry, descent, and landing hardware, so this is not a new occurrence. We had a similar experience in December 2004 when NASA's Opportunity rover sent us the same type of photographs. Over a year after its impact, a recent study analyzing information from the first 60 souls of Zhurong, who spent 62 Earth days on Mars, revealed how weather and water interaction had impacted the rocks in the area of Zhurong's landing site over millions of years. The area where Zhurong had been rolling about was relatively flat and had just a few boulders. According to data from the rover's camera, the surface is covered with small, regular rocks. While moving, Zhurong has also been collecting soil samples. Researchers utilized images from the rover's navigation and topography cameras in this investigation to analyze the rock structure without setting up camp. In most of the studied rocks, the researchers discovered grooves and etchings from particles that the wind carried, but also flakes, which seemed to be proof of interactions with water or brines. Ding Liang of Harbin Institute of Technology in northeast China led this team of researchers. They said in the paper that the rock textures observed at the site so far may indicate both the presence of physical weathering, such as impact sputtering, wind erosion, and potential freeze-thaw weathering, and aqueous interaction involving salt and brine. The site offers opportunities for more research, the scientists further stated. According to the article, these rock and soil targets provide fantastic chances to acquire a peek into the aqueous history and climatic change of the northern lowlands and shed light on the evolution of Mars habitability. The Chinese team's analysis was supported by Kirsten Siebeck, a self-described Martian geologist and assistant professor at Rice University's Department of Earth's Environmental and Planetary Sciences. It looks like there's surface evidence for something like a contraction-expansion process, which can be from brine or a freeze-thaw effect or really significant temperature changes, she said in an interview. She added that such processes cause the rocks to kind of flake apart. This is consistent with what we've seen at other landing sites on Mars, where the rocks are exposed differently than on Earth. Siebeck also emphasized the value of having photos and data from a new landing site on Mars. By having 9 to 10 landing sites across the surface of Mars, we're starting to get a better sense of what processes are relatively global. She stressed that the paper is filled with many essential details on the physics of the soil and how the ground reacts to the rover driving above it and its landing equipment. This is actually really important if you want to land there with humans. The rocks detected around the landing site were concealed with etchings and grooves on one side, which showed that they would have passed through thorough wind erosion, not from the sand, according to the authors. Some rocks also possess a flaky texture, typically arising from interactions with water. The fascinating thing is that many scientists perceive that Utopia Planitia may have once hosted an ancient liquid water ocean billions of years ago. According to one expert, hopefully as Zhurong continues to explore, it will be able to help answer this question that has been plaguing scientists for decades. The expert added that the rover will traverse alien ridges, dunes, trails caused by erosion, and mysterious pitted cones. Specifically, one of the scientists' essential goals is to utilize the rock's ground-penetrating radar to figure out the thickness and distribution of Martian soil close to some landforms hypothesized to have been made by the presence of subsurface water or ice. The presence of water would have intense effects on understanding the climate history of Mars, resources for future crewed missions, and as a habitat for simple subsurface life. The team of researchers discovered that the Martian soil has high bearing strength and cohesion, evidence of wind erosion, after investigating the surface rocks pictured by the rover's cameras. Not just that, but the researchers also detected landscapes like ridges, ripples, and eroded craters, which show that the site has been subjected to long periods of weathering by the wind. Similar to sand dunes on Earth, winds create large waves on the surface. They discovered that, when observed from an orbiting ship, the ripples look like bright streaks. They postulate that the ripples' bright appearance is caused by a very thin dust layer covering them. The study also mentions the existence of several pitted cones a few kilometers south of the rover's location. Zhurong's cameras might take a close-up look at these to reveal new information on how these features were created, since the most prevalent theories include mud volcanism, hydrovolcanism, and even underground water flows. Zhurong undoubtedly experienced some breathtaking views as it traveled across the surface of the red planet and recorded some of them for us. The rover and its orbiting companion, Tianwen-1, entered safe mode from mid-September to late October of 2021 as the sun's charged particles hampered their abilities to communicate with Earth. Zhurong stopped to take a thorough look around before the break, and the image it returned shows the rover and its solar antenna near a dune. Mission scientists are eager for Zhurong to study this feature. The horizon of the panoramic contains a lot of far-off landmarks. What distinguishes the Zhurong rover from NASA's Perseverance is its capacity to record original angles thanks to a wireless deployable camera. Earlier in June, the rover utilized its camera to take a special selfie without the aid of a robotic arm. In Chinese mythology, the god of fire has the name of Zhurong. It set out on a straightforward mission to raise China's profile in the field of space research and to monitor Mars' surface for 3 months in search of signs of ancient life. NASA's most recent Mars rover, Perseverance, carried out a similar task. Because of its sense of rivalry, Perseverance collected surface samples that will be saved and sent to Earth for analysis on subsequent missions as early as 2026. In the samples, NASA is looking for evidence of microbial life. The Chinese rover is not as technologically sophisticated as Perseverance, but China nevertheless managed to place a rover on the surface without using any earlier intermediate missions. China's space program established its position as one of the leading organizations researching the solar system simply by reaching Mars and circling there in February. Now that it has successfully completed a landing, a rover's deployment is still to come. In what some see as a new age of space rivalry, China has established itself as a major player. It patrolled the surface of Mars on a 3-month mission to detect and establish evidence of ancient life on Mars. Due to these accomplishments, NASA is feeling competition from this new Chinese invention. Perseverance has also embarked on the same mission on Mars. China's space program has now been placed among the top agencies exploring the solar system. By accomplishing a landing and deploying a rover, it has established itself as a leading contender in a new era of space competition. We hope you learned something about the discoveries made by China's Mars rover, Zhurong. Please like and subscribe the channel.